Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. It is exactly 9:57 a.m. and standing by to talk to us is a community activist and CEO of Inspire Media Networks, and that, of course, is Imraahn Mukaddam, based in the Western Cape. He is the bread cartel guy, the guy that took on the bread cartels. I'll always say it and always remember it for the rest of my life. Assalamu alaikum to you, Imraahn. Welcome to the program. Always a pleasure talking with you.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah, and to the listeners of Salam Media as well.
Okay, this time around, you've taken on a very, very big fight on your hands. And you are asking the all important question, the MJC debacle, where to from here? You go on to say that the clergy has a role in our lives. They should be our moral compass, our guide to assist us in navigating the complex realities of modern life. They are present at our births, marriages, and our deaths. And yes, they teach us our religion, our moral and ethical values are informed by their teachings, but also by their example. You're going to say that every aspect of our lives as Muslims in South Africa has been captured, and the operative word here is captured, by certain organized clergy syndicates, be it Hajj, the halal industry, Islamic finance, and even the Islamic media, people like you, Imraahn, and myself, and our radio stations. Welcome. And that really is a very powerful statement, is it not?
Yes, it's really difficult to speak this language in the context of the way we are brought up and the values we are brought up with regards to, the reverence that we have for the ulama and the learned in our community. So we have this very taboo area in many of our communities and families. The way we are structured is that the ulama is esteemed and approach. And to really go with the beauty of life over the past 50 years, is that you know,
Okay, Imran, I'm losing you. You just want to stay in one, try and stay statue still so that I can hear you loudly and clearly, please.
sure, okay.
Right, I can hear
So,
you now.
so what we're saying is that, that this has always been a bit of a taboo in contemporary Muslim society, is that we don't go there with regards to holding, especially our Muslim leadership, to account. So the situation has deteriorated to the extent that it's becoming really a necessity that we speak about the issues and how flagrantly, as a community, we are being abused because of the tendency to remain quiet when it comes to the issues of the conduct of those that is in leadership, especially with regards to our religious leadership.
Okay, you talk about the MJC debacle. I know the issue of Hajj and Sahuk has been a very thorny, issue with you as well. Back in the day, I think it was with some Harvard guy as well that, raised this issue. And what stands out for me is people like yourselves, talk about this, you give voice to these concerns, and then the majority of the ummah just continue life as per normal. And there's a handful of very strong voices that raise the issue. Why is it that we're not listening to you and taking action? So let's start with the MJC debacle. What is that all about? Give us context to the issues that you've raised.
Okay, well, the NCC has been contentious for a very long time. Um, and now, from within the ranks of the NCC, and we actually commend the Majlis of the NCC for instituting a commission of inquiry into the finances of the organization. And their conclusions is very damning. that there are no systems in place, that there's huge amounts of cash withdrawals, and there's very little accountability. So this is like, a situation where what we've been saying all along is being vindicated by the MJC themselves from within their own banks. They instituted this commission of inquiry, and the conclusions affirms that there is no proper systems in place, and that monies, whichever the source may be, is not being appropriately handled for the benefit of the Muslim community, as it was implied from the inception of the MJCs, that they are an organization that will be a benefit to the Muslim community and give us a sort of legal framework and structure, and always be looking out for the best interest of this community. Right now, this is not the case. So,
Clearly, I've read
all,
this.
yeah,
I've read the report as well about the financials not being accurate, and people have been siphoning money from the accounts. The issue is about our accountability, and the people at the top, why are they so laid back about it? They should hold the parties to account. Maybe, and I know that this may sound harsh, but these people need to be reported for fraud or theft or whatever it is. And you need to set an example, because if you don't, this is going to continue. Look at the issue with the Amana Trust in KZN. Hundreds of thousands of innocent widows and poor people who put their money in trust there are totally out of pocket as well. These are just some of the cases that is happening within our communities. And then we say things like, um, you know, we kind of dismiss it and say Allah will deal with them in the Akhirah. But if we continue taking that stance, people are getting away with murder.
exactly, and that is contrary to the Islamic and the Quranic value system and ethics from an Islamic point of view. In all of the Islamic jurisprudence and Sharia, there is always the real
Accountability.
accountability.
Mm.
So really, you are exactly on point when you say that we need to set an example, and this now needs to be addressed more aggressively. But we also need to have a much bigger debate, and that's what I bring out in the article, is that we know all of this. We know that the organized clergy that has been basically selling the religion in order to make, as a franchise, especially when we're looking at the halal certification and the millions that are being made. It's a huge industry. We see with Hajj as well, the surplus of Sauk and what's happening to that. So, we need to ask the question, for how long are we going to, it's good to look at the bad apples and think if we take them out of the basket, the basket's going to be saved. But when the basket itself is rotten, then, what do we do? How do we throw out this basket without losing what's in it? And this is the debate that we should be having as a community. Where to from here? How do we work
Okay,
and
Imran, let me ask you this question. Imran, can I come in here, please? Let's look at the issue. You've raised the issue of Sahuk, and you've also raised the issue with the halal industry. Um, in your article, you also talk about the trademark. Who was given, uh, who and how was this trademark to sell brand Islam? It was to the highest bidder. Who's where's all those funds going to? In the past, when we've had these discussions, we've been told things like the halal industry employs X amount of people. It is creating employment, it's generating revenue, etc., etc. The question to be asked is what's happening? Who's in charge of all of those surplus funds? With obviously the halal industry, and I know there's been a few halal industry wars as well. The different organizations, you know, almost trying to supersede the other, and we have quite a number of those organizations in the country. Uh, and of course, with Hajj as well, all of those surplus funds. In a previous interview with Shaheen, he indicated that the funds that they have in the kitty is used for sending out their medical teams, having the support, on Hajj, etc., which sounded very, very credible to me. Are you not buying that? What are your further concerns around these issues? Coming to the halal industry, just imagine if we didn't have halal certification boards, we would be lost as a community, would we not? How would we verify if foodstuffs that we are buying is in fact halal and fit for consumption as far as the Muslim Ummah is concerned? So let's look at both sides of the coin.
Most definitely, we are not advocating for the abolition of groupings such as the MJC or the Jamias or the halal certifiers or even Sauk. You know, as much as we would want to think that as Muslim communities we could act as ordinary citizens do in most other countries where they don't have these superfluous groupings that are basically carrying off the Muslim community. And we're a very small Muslim community to be um, supporting such a huge economy and monopolies as we see. Yes, so the point is that halal, Hajj, even to a certain extent Islamic finance, to a certain extent, the surplus that is produced to Islamic media, we need to ask the question is whose money is that if it's being done in the name of the Muslim community, and how do we hold those institutions accountable, and where is the transparency? So the questions that we are asking is that, is there a need for seven different halal or certifiers all competing for the same market share, and then not being accountable to the constituency they claim they represent? So these are the questions that we're asking and we've been asking for a while. Like, where does the authorization come from that you can actually go out and say, I'm a Muslim, I can certify you halal, and there's no regulation whatever. I can go into any butcher tomorrow and say, I belong to a Muslim organization which I just founded yesterday, and I can replace the certifier there and ask a third of the price in terms of licensing. And I can do exactly the same job. I can price the ingredients and say, okay, these products are all certifiable as being acceptable by, and there's no debate around that. Are these organizations really competent to deliver on the promise that the products that we eat are halal? And we've seen in the Orion matter in 2011, we products were certified halal that were by no means halal. So processes and procedures and accountability and good governance. These are
Okay.
the key points.
All right. So
Sorry.
whom do we look to give us guidance in these matters? Are we comfortable with the current crop of people we have? Are they being are they playing open cards with the community? And how do we ensure that the reserve funds in their kitties is going to be utilized, in the proper way? And then also the one issue I've come across recently is little cottage industries, and I don't know if it's happening in the Western Cape, but here in Gauteng, small little home industries are being approached to sign up with one of these halal certification bodies. Come on, guys. This is a little cottage industry. It might be a widow. It might be a single mother. She's trying hard to put food on the table and to make ends meet. And you guys now come like vultures and you want her to be certified, which will probably cost her a couple of R100 a month, which she can ill afford.
No, no, exactly. It reached a ridiculous point that toothpicks and water has halal certificates on them. I mean, what could be haram about a toothpick, or what could
Yeah.
be haram about a bottle of water? So it's really gone to the extreme way. It's so profit driven, and that's all that matters at the end of the day is not ensuring that the product conforms to the Sharia requirements of halal, but the bottom line is what the objective of many of these organizations. It becomes a chase, and there's no difference between buying a Kentucky or Nando's franchise and buying a halal certificate, because all you're doing is buying a brand label to put on your packaging to ensure that your product sells. And this is how big business looks at it. And the one that has the most lenient requirements and has the cheapest price is the one that would be the brand you put on your packaging, or in the case of certain of the more popular brands that you would have, instead of having an MJC label on your product, you go for the Sana one because it's more esteemed. It's like looking at a normal pair of pants and a Levi, and that is how the brand has been developed. The brand
Ridiculous.
identity has
Yeah,
developed ridiculously so
absolutely.
that it becomes exactly as we say. They've sold brand Islam, and they've created a market out of selling Islam in order to really participate in the capitalist economy. And in doing so, they are creating service profits that are not being used for the benefit of the Muslim community, from which they are creating these profits, or in whose interest they claim to be creating these service profits. And this is,
Oh,
a huge problem, is that you cannot use my name and create an industry around who I am, and then not be accountable to me, and not allow me and the poor amongst our community to benefit from that. And if you come on the case that, and you see how many Muslims are standing in the queues of churches, or
for a
waiting for a
food
cup
parcel.
of soup, or a food parcel, or a cup of
Yeah,
soup, whether it's
right.
halal or
Or
haram.
not.
But you have these halal authorities sitting with huge surpluses that they can wastefully spend and be unaccountable for.
Imran, unfortunately, we have run out of time. This discussion can go on for days and days and days. May I please make a suggestion that we have Inayat Wadi, try and get you and a few other role players to do this on a Wednesday night. Clearly, we don't have enough time on news and views, but this is something that needs to be aired. People need to become aware, and we need to start taking action regarding this issue. Very quickly, would you know what's happening in other parts of the world as far as halal certification is concerned? Do they sit with a similar problem as we do in South Africa, where we're being over-serviced?
No, I think if you look at the Jakim situation in Malaysia, Indonesia, where you have a central authority that oversees and licenses local authorities to continue the work. But there's one standard, there's one set of rules, there's one set of requirements, and the monies and the franchising fees are run through a central authority with its complete accountability. I think the difference between South Africa and many of the more established halal authorities in the world is that we're still running our halal authorities, sorry for the language, but we call it in Cape Town a bubby shop. We're running
Okay,
in the way you
yeah,
would run your own.
we're going to have to leave it there. I just don't have time to unpack the Hajj industry and Muslim media, because I think that's also very important to talk about. But let's see if Inayat can do a special show with you. I think he normally runs a 2 hour special on a Wednesday night, and I think that's where we need to air all of these issues. Thank you so very much indeed,
I
Imraahn.
if I just can put the last point in is that we
Yes,
all know what the problem is. We basically need a discussion on where to from here. It's not
yep,
about knowing what the problem is. It's actually looking at solutions and a strategy that can implement how we see Islam, South Africa 2050.
brilliant, brilliant. And so very important as well. And we're having a lot of young people coming through the ranks now. They're more aware, they're educated, they're knowledgeable, and maybe they can, being our future leaders, obviously, they can give us direction as well. So, Imraahn, always a pleasure talking with you. Imraahn Mukaddam, community activist and CEO of Inspire Media Networks. Thank you. The question he raised was what next for the Muslim Judicial Council? And also, in the same question, he's asking about obviously the Hajj syndicates, halal syndicates, Islam finance, and even Islamic media. Thank you once again. Keep us in your du'as and salam alaikum to you. Okay, and as we wrap up at 18 minutes after 10 o'clock this morning, some breaking news. We understand that there is another tiger on the loose in Gauteng. The breaking news is another tiger on the loose in Gauteng. There has been reports of a tiger being on the loose in Gauteng. The tiger was spotted in Edenvale in the East Rand on Monday morning. Video footage showed the tiger walking past a vehicle that was parked at a business office. And in a voice note sent to the citizen, Gary from SAS Security cautioned people to be aware of the tiger that is on the loose. I quote, please be aware there is a tiger. It is true. It has been confirmed. From the footage, it seems to be a young tiger. It's not very big, but still a tiger is a tiger. If you have pets and see pets in the area, please keep them inside, including your kids. So says Gary from SAS Security. Remember earlier on this month, Sheba the tiger, an 8-year-old tigress, was euthanized after she escaped from a plot in the Walker's Fruit Farm area of Midvaal, south of Johannesburg. And of course, her owner reported that his fence had been deliberately cut, and that's how Sheba had escaped. So, good people, please do be on the lookout on the East Rand area, Edenvale area. There is another tiger on the loose in Gauteng. That brings us to the end of the show this morning. Shukran very much for your company. And of course, a big shout out to our producer, that's you, Nasri Naidu, and the controller, that's you, Kolani. Thank you indeed for keeping the show running. We know that we have had issues regarding connectivity, but of course, we blame it directly onto the Lords of Darkness, Eskom. Time for me to wrap up. Shukran for your company. Till tomorrow morning at the same time, as always, keep safe. Allah be with each and every one of us, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum and Khudafiz from me, Julie Ali.
Humanity sets the agenda.
For all the times that I needed a friend, I prayed to Allah that my sentence would end. Then He sent you to me, I can't comprehend how I could deserve such a blessing from Him. And it made me wanna write a song, 'cause I needed you to know that you're